Okay, second parter. Okay, so I went over the why and the how. In my first part, I'm going to extensively cover the why, and then also the next section is not like who, but why and how. It's called the data, so that's gonna be really fun to dissect. Okay, so anyway, context. Dream has been accused of cheating, and we are debunking his response to all of these allegations. Go check the previous project if you don't want to. If you like don't understand any of the things, they'll all be explained there. Alright, so to summarize the last video, I went over the Dream stating why he would cheat and like why he wouldn't cheat, and how he would cheat, like half of it, and I have screenshots of the other half. So we're gonna see. Alright, so reading on, it says, as for further on the how, we also have to talk about how the cheating took place, meaning ignoring the method of injecting cheating, how did the cheating work if there was cheating. In this case, the assumption is that piglin borders will increase from 5% to 15%. I'm not extremely well versed in statistics, but even I consider that would be extremely dumb. Alright, there's another part of it, so I'm gonna read it out. Give me a sec. Alright, so here we go. It's also very unlikely given the fact that it's a mod. Someone goes through the effort to cheat using a mod. I'm sure it would take 2 seconds to make it be in a very controllable way. If someone did not control critical mods, they'll probably recognize that controlling when piglins drop pearls would be much better than controlling how much they drop pearls. Even a speedrun moderator mentioned that if they were to cheat, that's how they would do it. So now in this case, even though you can't 100% prove this is the case, saying it proves that again is extremely unlikely. There's even a time where I trade one go for one ender for one pro trade and then quit the game within seconds after. If I was intentionally cheating and I knew that drop rates were altered or I was in control of the drop rates myself, why would I do this? This also brings into question behavioral changes, and which I don't believe there are any, or at least not widespread ones. For all my runs, I still collect a lot of extra gold, and a lot of the time I do piglin trades if while looking for or before finding a fortress. If they knew I could guarantee to get pros on piglin trades, so why would I waste time doing it on that? Alright. Yeah, he does make a very, very strong case on how he could not cheat because, like, basically he says that, oh, how do I, if I increase the drop rate myself, why would I do it on essentially dead runs? And that makes a lot of sense. I also want to point out that yes, he does get 5 to 8 ender pro trades. The 26 one is like one in the really big, like trillions of chances, and exactly, like, why would he get those like OP and pro trades on what are essentially like what are those like dead runs? So, and like, because like his luck is really big, because I think it's only because of the amount of time he spent trying to get the record. And yeah, I'd say that would be why. Alright, moving on. But that would just make me suspicious for no reason whatsoever. On top of that, why would I give myself a lot of extra pros on runs where I didn't need them at all? There's even a one where I got 26 pros, and I believe it was 5 pro trades. Why would I need 5 pros? And if I had a mod to modify piglin borders, why did I make it so that I had sufficient pros? Traded 6 or 8 pros every time. It's a lot of dumb questions that make the accusation of cheating just seem absurd, given the actual effects of the supposed cheating. And like, yeah, because not increasing the drop rate does not really help if you're getting like 1 to 4 at a time. And like, for me, if I was cheating, it would be, I'll increase the drop rates from like 1 to 16 to like 10 to 30, something like that. Because I'm not gonna waste my time waiting for the piglins to check the gold. And yeah, that's basically it. It seems pretty clear here. So if there's nothing else to the data, or unless there's like another page I have to check, we're heading on to the video. So there was another screenshot. Okay, Okay, I'm gonna read it out. So again, it comes to the question, how did the cheating take place? This doesn't disprove any kind of statistics, but it does call into question a belief on whether someone cheated or not. I give the analogy in dispute on Discord before, but if someone like Illumina found 11 eye in Portal, and by the other collected all the pros and blade swords needed for a full Portal, despite an 11 eye being virtually impossible statistically, would the consensus be that Illumina was a cheater? Of course it wouldn't, because the why and the how contradict the data. I believe that although it does not apply to my personal best run, it applies to every run before it, especially runs where the run was completely dead and I said screw it, let's trade. The only way any of this will make sense at all is if I didn't have any reason to believe my Piglin borders would be luckier than average. That's really it for how, and move on to the statistics. The part I know least about. So, skimming over these, he's basically saying like, oh, Illumina, another world record speed runner found an 11 eye portal, but then like he didn't get called a cheater despite an 11 eye portal being virtually impossible. Sorry, that's maintenance. We're going back, and yeah, this does like say he would have been called a cheater. I'm basically gonna say it outright, and we're gonna move on to the data. I'll probably do this in the next project. Alright, so like I know my analysis skills haven't been really good lately, but I'm just gonna try what I can from this. The data presented is as follows. Over the course of my 6 most recent 1x16 streams, my Piglin butters over a 263 trade sample were significantly more lucky than usual. I traded for 41 Ender Pearl trades over the 263 size sample. This is 15% odds instead of 5% odds. The reason this is significant is because of my sample size. You wouldn't expect to see that many Ender Pearl trades over that many trades basically ever. According to people who are actually good at math, it is a 1 in 40 billion chance, which is obviously absurd if the data is completely correct. So, yeah, he does bring up evidence that like puts him in the limelight of cheating, but he wouldn't do this if he knew he was in the right here. But yeah, he's basically saying that statistics show that he had a 15% drop chance, and that is 1 in 40 billion, which just make him like really suspicious, because I don't think anybody has that much luck that consistently. And we're gonna move on to the next screenshot. Alright, so according to I'm gonna continue reading on. I decided to talk with some independent sources which are decent with statistics to help me understand the data itself. Now the pro trade statistics seem to be accurate. The only thing that hurts the data itself is how the data was collected. Again, the data was collected because of what I said at the beginning of the document. An overly curious viewer who noticed I got lucky per trades decided to collect the data. This in itself means that the data was collected because the data seemed inconsistent. On top of that, the more pro trades you get in a row, the more likely that your sample will be smaller, in which in a small sample contributes to a lot of validity of the overall data. Okay, I personally agree with this. Like this, yeah, this just started because the viewer was like, this guy's getting a lot of trades, and decided to look into it, and not for an experiment. Other than making a truly random example, the sample starts when the luck seems off, and the sample ends as soon as I hit a personal best goal of 19 minutes. That's because that's when I said I would stop streaming, stop 25. So although this can be touted as a random set of data, it is most definitely not. There are 5 other 1.16 streams that are streamed on Twitch that can be rummaged through and are definitely not included in the data. There are also thousands of offline runs that I've done myself and also have data. On top of that, again, the fact that I got very lucky means that I trade less, which means that the sample size itself will be forcibly small. This inclusive is what's called sampling. Okay, I can't say the last word. So like, yeah, it makes you feel like the viewer kind of like handpicked the data here, which kind of looks true because he only did it when the luck started to look a bit sus. And yeah, that's gonna. Wait a second. Like, yeah, that does like put the viewer that pointed this out in a really bad spot, because it made them look like a cherry picker and stuff like that. But yes, they should look over the other 5 streams, because that might balance out the truth. It may be because like it's his lucky day or something like that, but yeah, I'd say it's because of that. Alright, so next screenshot. Although the data may appear to be unbiased due to the fact that it's my most recently specifically over 16 streams, it isn't. The way it's collected And why it was collected makes it significantly based sampling. The data was collected because the significantly based sampling seemed off, and the data was collected in a very non-random way, with a significant leaning towards more pros rather than less. Obviously, this makes the situation much more complicated because there's not that much data to go off of due to the fact that I run almost completely offline. Although due to this day, I've seen no charts of deleted data collected from my 1.16 streams. This is called cherry picking, even stated by a Minecraft developer, as I have already said this in the last one. It's actually a logical fallacy called cherry picking, choosing only the information which supports my claim and ignoring any that doesn't. So, I'm gonna read a part of this other paragraph soon, but yeah, this is cherry picking because like if they're gonna show they need to show all of the data first. I mean, like these accusations are kind of like I'm pretty open to them. I don't really care what happens to Dream, so I'll still like his content even if I find out when he's if he's cheats. So yes, but this is biased. This is only like one of his 6 recent streams. And like if compared to luck to all his streams, who knows? The luck may increase, the luck may decrease, but like all we know is that they didn't compile it. Alright. Obviously, due to the fact that it's Minecraft and I'm being accused of cheating, people can just say the data doesn't matter because he could have only turned on his cheats recently. But that's making an assumption and is unfair and it's when talking about collecting and biased data. The fact is, I got my best and luckiest runs I ever had was streaming for my personal best. I had plenty of runs on stream and off when I traded gold for no pros. It's just that during this 260 trade sample, I didn't. Alright, this is kind of fishy here because like he's relying a lot on these offline things that we never get to see, and like we will have to see some evidence of him cheating, of his offline runs and like his unlucky runs in order to be able to fully believe him. What do you guys think?